Hello, mysterious person behind the screen. It is that time of year again, everyone. Christmas is well and truly upon us once more. Absolutely my favourite month of the year. The lights, the food, the beautiful and bright but sweet sentimentality and joy that comes around every December. I love it all. And I especially love getting in the festive mood with Christmas specials of my favourite TV shows. Now, I'm not the guy to figure out the exact science behind why this is, but for whatever reason, Christmas TV episodes always tend to be some of my favourites of any particular show. There's this secret formula, I think, wherein seeing your favourite characters in a Christmassy setting or in a festive mood always just somehow works. I don't have a clue why, but there you go. All throughout December, I watch so many of these things, even episodes of shows that I don't usually go back to in the rest of the year. For example, Only Fools and Horses. Love the show, it's a British institution, and it's brilliant, but it isn't something I necessarily watch independently. I always just catch it when it's on. And at Christmas, you turn on Gold, and they're always playing the Only Fools Christmas specials, and my family always have them on in the background at this time of year. But the episodes spoken about in this video are the ones I just have to watch every single year without fail. It ain't Christmas until these episodes are on. So grab your holiday beverage of choice and put on an ugly Christmas jumper. These are my favourite Christmas TV episodes.
Roger Maya!
Now first up, as soon as December hits, the first week or so for me is always spent revisiting all of the Royal Family Christmas specials. These are all gold for me. As a show, the Royal Family is insanely relatable anyway, that's the whole point. I touched on a lot of these elements when I did my video on the masterpiece that is Queen of Sheba, so go check that out for more information, but the Christmas episodes, particularly the first one from 1999, capture a very, very specific festive feeling that you rarely see in other films and shows. I'm talking about the evening of Christmas Day, when all the food's been eaten, maybe the celebrations are kind of winding down and everyone's pretty exhausted. The whole format of the show is perfectly suited to capture this feeling, and it works brilliantly. That first special, with the soundtrack to The Snowman playing throughout most of it, has this brilliantly festive, almost ethereal quality to it that I just adore, and it all culminates with one of the most emotionally charged sequences of the show, as Denise goes into labour, and Jim, usually the foul-mouthed miser, breaks down and tells his daughter how he really feels. It's so beautifully written and performed. The whole episode has a very specific feeling to it that's kind of hard to properly put into words. The other specials are great too. I know they get a bit of stick for being a bit more outlandish than the original ultra gritty and realistic run, but they never fail to get me in the Christmas mood every time December rolls around, so I couldn't not talk about them here. Christmas my arse. I couldn't make a video like this without talking about the Doctor Who Christmas specials. From 2005 to 2017, they were an annual tradition for Doctor Who fans to look forward to, and recently it's been announced that RTD is bringing them back, which is nice. Now, admittedly, the quality of these was always a bit hit and miss, with some truly dreadful ones in there, but a lot of them are great too. My favourite, though? It has to be 2010's A Christmas Carol. Maybe it's just because I'm a sucker for the Christmas Carol story. Dickens' book is the definitive Christmas tale, and I love it in almost any form. So seeing Doctor Who put its own spin on this classic story was always going to be a winner for me, and this episode just ticks so many boxes. This era of the show was defined by its fairy tale tone, so applying that here means that this is probably the most outwardly Christmassy of all the specials. The whole tone has this beautiful melancholic vibe that I spoke about earlier. It makes me emotional every time I see it. Visually, it's stunning. I love the steampunk aesthetic of this one, and the way it plays with time travel is inspired. The fact that the Doctor literally becomes Kazran's ghost of Christmas past, present, and yet to come by changing his memories is both exciting and haunting. That idea of trying to delay the inevitable, trying to hold on to Christmas because you know what's coming, it's such a brilliant story choice that really evokes the original novel so well. And Abigail's song, God, it's just a fantastic scene that I really don't think enough people talk about. Doctor Who's version of A Christmas Carol is nostalgic, tragic, haunting, but ultimately absolutely gorgeous with an optimistic outlook on the future. Absolutely my favourite Christmas outing the Doctor has ever had. Halfway out of the dark, indeed. Jumping across the pond for a minute, for Community. Yeah, I always love returning to my favourite bunch of weirdos, and their first 3 Christmas episodes are some of my favourite ones the show ever did. Season 1's Comparative Religion is probably the first episode of Community that really feels like what the rest of the show would become, and maybe the first time that these characters really feel like the found family that defines them going forward. It's a hilarious episode, with Jeff getting into a fight with Anthony Michael Hall, much to Shirley's chagrin. The final fight that the episode ends on never fails to make me laugh out loud every time, as the gang gleefully joins in on the chaos that's unfolding. The episode does a great great job at exploring how conflicting religions get along during the Christmas holidays, and it's a great way of showcasing each character's strengths and weaknesses. It's fantastic. Jumping ahead to season 3, regional holiday music is a glorious takedown of Glee. A musical episode that delights in taking the piss out of that show and all the tropes of it. This is Community in full-on meta mode, and it's so good. But really, the highlight of the show's Christmas adventures is, of course, Season 2's stop-motion spectacular, Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas. One of the best episodes of the entire show, and one of the best Christmas episodes of anything ever. The entire aesthetic is to die for. It's so colourful and appealing, the animation is stunning, and I challenge you to find another Christmas episode of a show that visually just screams Christmas as much as this does. Doing a stop-motion episode could so easily have been a really shallow gimmick, but the fact that the whole format is used to dive deep into Abed's hopes, fears, and anxieties is inspired. There's really no way for me to explain how powerful the in-universe reason for all of this is. You're just going to have to watch it yourself because it's so effective. What really makes this episode for me is how Abed describes what the meaning of Christmas is. You hear so many films and shows that ask this question, and ever since I first saw this episode, Abed's speech has been my definitive answer. When somebody asks me why I love Christmas so much, this is what I tell them. The meaning of Christmas is the idea that Christmas has meaning. It means whatever you want it to mean. We each have our own very specific, unique traditions that define this time of year for us. They can all be wildly different, but as long as they have meaning to us, then Christmas itself will always have meaning. That is such a profound, mature, and beautiful sentiment that comes straight from this gorgeous episode. It's a sentiment that I echoed myself in my Christmas video last year. Now, admittedly, I did go a bit too melodramatic with that one. Don't write a Christmas video during a rough spot for your mental health, kids. But I think the message of that still stands. Absolutely hilarious, gorgeous to look at, and with something genuinely profound and moving to say about the entire Christmas season, I could easily devote an entire video to Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas. There's so much to say, but for now, I'll leave it at this. Christmas Pterodactyl! Let's talk a bit about Buffy. Although everybody's favourite vampire slayer only ever gave us one Christmas episode, it was pretty damn great. Amends is a dark and reflective little tale that sees the past literally coming back to haunt Angel as the Scoobies try their best to enjoy the holidays. This episode is light on action and high-octane thrills, instead opting for a super dark journey into Angel's tragic past and his complicated relationship with Buffy. There's a lot to love here, from the really sweet subplot of Willow desperately trying to make things right with Oz, to the gnarly design of the Harbingers of Death. But it's really the final scene that makes this a firm fave. Angel tries to kill himself by waiting for the sun to come up, leading to a brilliantly performed scene between Sarah Michelle Gellar and David Boreanaz. And just when it seems like all hope is lost for Angel, it starts to snow, a literal Christmas miracle. The scene that follows is one of my favourites in the entire Buffyverse. For some reason, I just have a bit of a thing for scenes where characters watch the snowfall. I don't know what it is, but every time this specific situation happens in a film, game, or TV show, it never fails to get me misty-eyed. It happens in Life is Strange, it happens in Doctor Who, which I spoke about earlier, it even happens in the bloody Benidorm Christmas special. But this scene from Buffy is probably the very best example of them all. It's a moment of peace and tranquility, a moment of respite for Angel and Buffy. We see the Scooby Gang in a moment of calm. Then we close the episode with Buffy and Angel walking hand in hand through the snow. A second chance at life, really. It's such a gorgeous scene. I love it so much. Amends is a great episode. I also want to shout out a slightly odd one here, Nan's Christmas Carol. Yeah, this is one of those instances where I really don't watch any of Catherine Tate's Nan character at any other time of the year, but this adaptation of A Christmas Carol, putting the foul-mouthed pensioner into the Scrooge position, is really fun. Packed full of guest stars, this is a real put your feet up and just go with it special, and I love it for that. Also, David Tennant has had such an incredible career. He's one of the nation's finest actors, but I'll be damned if his incredibly camp version of The Ghost of Christmas Present isn't one of the best things he's ever done. There's so many more I could talk about here, from the brilliant Father Ted special to the genius that is Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean. From the dark and depraved but gut-bustingly hilarious A Very Sunny Christmas to the deliciously satirical Blackadder's Christmas Carol. But I'm going to leave you with one Christmas special that me and my family watch every single Christmas Eve without fail, the 2008 Gavin and Stacey Christmas special. Since its original broadcast, this has been an essential Christmas staple in my house. This hour-long visit to Barry and Essex is so quotable, with a big old beating heart, just like the show itself. The word iconic has pretty much lost all meaning now that the internet uses it to describe literally everything, but this whole special pretty much deserves it. It's almost a ritual. Everyone in my household every Christmas gathers around to watch this without fail. Gavin and Stacey is one of my favourite shows anyway. I know that a lot of the discourse surrounding the show is often dwarfed by its massive popularity and how much of a dick James Corden apparently is, but I stand by the fact that it's an excellently written show from beginning to end. Like the royal family, what makes the show, and especially this episode, work is the relatability element. Everything about this whole thing is just scarily accurate to big family Christmases that myself and many, many others have experienced in the past. To be perfectly honest, there's not much more I can say about this that hasn't already been said. It's a big, warm, fantastic, festive treat that bridges the gap between Series 2 and 3 perfectly and spawned 1,000 memes and GIFs. Oh, it's so good. So what about you? What are your favourite festive editions of TV shows? Which episodes do you return to every December? Which episodes do you think are the best of the best? I know that there were so many that I didn't mention here, so many favourites, so let me know what you think. Let's start a conversation. More videos coming your way real soon, but until then, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in my next one. Merry Christmas, and take care now.